Who's ready for Keno?
Actually, I've been waiting for the map for so long, I can't wait for it to arrive to the...
Michael went ahead and he took to Twitter and made a post. Wanted to do a little Q&A. He wanted the community to ask some questions for the dev team to answer since the summer event is over, to see what's next for Michael Zombies, you know.
Oh boy, why did Michael do this? Why did Michael do this?
First one is from Astro, and he says, "Who voices Michael, and will our progress carry over to MZ2?" I voiced Michael in the social stuff, but you can answer the second part.
Progress will not carry over to MZ2, mainly because I want to rework the economy, and the MZ1 economy, it's pretty straightforward. You just get a bunch of coins and you buy all the attachments, and then once you buy all the attachments, there's no more uses for coins. And currently the only use for emeralds right now is literally buying Michael Barrel, which you get for free anyways, so there's no point for that. For MZ2, I want that coin currency to be more rare, but also there to be a lot more shop options as well for you to spend your coins on, so you don't just like buy every attachment for the weapons and then like you're done. No more grinding, no more playing, whatever. And part of that as well kind of opens the opportunity to add new stuff like a trading system, or like just the whole chance of doing a second game is to provide opportunity for that, and also makes emeralds as well more interesting, because right now it's just like you buy a map and like that's it. I do want emeralds to still be used for map purchasing and such, and like other big important stuff like that, and that'll probably be like a very rare currency still. But I also want to just provide more uses for that, for just both the quote-unquote coins and the quote-unquote emeralds. We might change up how those currencies are even handled.
Okay, this one is from Red. He says, "Will MZ2 be completely different than all of the other COD clones?" Pretty excited to see.
I'm assuming by the other COD clones, they're talking about the Roblox clones in specific. They're talking about, Project Lazarus, Recoil Zombies, MMC Zombies, Corrupt Zombies. They're talking about like all that. I do think all of those games are like unique in their own rights. You know, Project Lazarus, I love the art style that Logitech's gone for that game, and I respect his work with C-frame animations too. Very tedious, yet very cool. Corrupt Zombies obviously is trying to be that realistic Call of Duty Black Wars, or Cold War. My bad.
Black War.
Not Black War. Corrupt Zombies trying to be that Call of Duty Cold War, basically copy, from Treyarch's Call of Duty Cold War. And like MMC is trying to mimic more of that World at War feel. I will still have like the COD zombie formula in some of our maps, but as some people have seen, we've been experimenting with like different type of game modes that are not COD zombies, like inherently based. Like the gun game mode from Joe's Gun Game. That's like more from the modded sections, I believe, but that was just something we cooked up on our own for the most part. Or like the summer event with the mini games. Now that one's controversial because we probably wouldn't do that for like our own map, but if we had like another event, I think that was good for the introduction for people who have never played like zombies before. So maybe it's like a easier mode, and like we have other modes in the future that we want to work out other than just copying that COD formula. So completely different, I wouldn't say that. It will still be like inspired off Call of Duty Zombies, but we're gonna try to lean towards our own unique stuff as well.
I feel like that inspired word is probably huge here, because a lot of people like inspiration is huge, and that's not just with like Call of Duty, that's just with the gaming industry. So like everyone gets inspired off of each other.
Inspired is also like a weird word, because like you could be quote unquote inspired and like be like nearly one-to-one, but no, it's inspired. Or you could be inspired in the sense like there's only a tinge of it, or like you get the feeling of the game, but like it's completely different. Like Doors versus Pressure is obviously inspired off Doors, but it does it in such a cool and unique different way that it doesn't feel like Doors. It feels like Doors. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Okay, next one is from GDA Gaming. Will some of the mechanics used in the games event be used in the new maps? Well...
Actually, for the mechanics in the games event, they're actually already reused mechanics from like previous parts in the game. So the baseball reflection, for example, that parry system is reused from the Michael Barrel Snowfella fight, which is kind of unique. And I really like that parry system that I did. It will definitely return for MZ2, obviously. What else? Skeet shooting, like the pop breaking stuff. That dates back all the way to Undead Nocturne. The pirate ship, now that one's like kind of unique because it's like a mix of Snowfella, but it's also like a completely new thing. I could see that returning, or like elements of that returning to like another boss fight. I'm really proud of it, honestly. And it was much quicker to develop than Snowfella. I feel like Snowfell is like the big thing that I had to develop, and then you could kind of tell like elements of Snowfell are still used in that pirate ship. Like the kegs are like the same as his big snowballs.
Yeah, it's throwing the snowballs.
Like, they're same functionally wise. I still want to like add new stuff, new mechanics as well. And even scrapped mechanics we had. Like way back when we were gonna do our very first Halloween event, I posted on Twitter a building mechanic with like the Roblox trowel tool, and you can like build barricades and like zombies would take that down. Like I want to bring that back, or like bring that into MZ2 into like a unique game mode somehow. Or like when I pulled out in that same tweet, I think I pulled out the dual Vulcan machine guns as well, and that was supposed to be like a sneak peek for that specialist system, and that's what I want to be like an entirely new mechanic for MZ2, quote unquote. We're calling it MZ2, quote unquote.
This is from Gold, Pure Golden. Will there be a map with a mechanic similar to Mob of the Dead's Afterlife or Shadow of Evil's Beast?
I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't have any plans for it. I guess it depends on the map, because like the first thing we think about, that's like a big gameplay thing. And whenever we think about maps or like design them, the first thing we think about is like, how do we want the map to play out? How do we want it to feel? And if we like find a thing that might require a system like that, because the whole point of the Afterlife and the Beast mode is that there isn't one power switch you just flip in the map. You actually have to like turn on localized power within certain areas of the map, and it makes like routing a very interesting strategy that speedrunners and like other people develop, but it also kind of keeps it open. So like it adds a new layer of skill other than like flipping a power switch, obviously, which I think is really good. But I also don't want to like straight up copy what they're doing as well. I don't know. We'll see.
From Random Dude. What can we expect for the design or philosophy and theme of any unique wonder weapons arriving in the future?
We don't want to copy the COD wonder weapon. So no ray gun Mark II. No thunder gun. We're even debating of like changing out the Wonder Waff and like ray gun to like more unique versions specifically tailored for the game. But a lot of it boils down to how our modelers feel. Since they're the ones modeling it and texturing it, they also have control of like, you know, the design of it and what they think fits into the game. And all I do is like, I just plant seeds and ideas into their minds and let them run with it. And it would be cool to see like a wonder weapon, you know, retrofitted with that or something. Maybe it's something Joey makes. Who knows?
Do you want to answer this question?
What theme is going to be the next Michael Zombies map?
Yep, from a Tonska.
That's a tough one. We've been in many toying discussions with like possible future ones. I know one of them we toyed about the idea of like having an oil rig out in the Arctic. One of the ideas we toyed around with is like having a neon city-esque Tokyo. One of the ones I want to do maybe in the future is like a minecart mineshaft one where you gotta like ride minecarts around to get to places. Like that could be cool. It's really up in the air for what the next Michael Zombies map is gonna be. Probably Hydro Plant. I really want to get that one out. We had so many like versions of it just in the back of development we've never used, and like parts of it have been retrofitted into like other currently existing maps. It's something I really want to do. So this like Hydro Plant map that Joe and I have always been trying to work on is an original map that like Joe mapped out, modeled in Blender, and then we went back to the drawing board on like this, try to make it again with like a different layout that was kind of more similar to, not, I want to say similar to Derice, but there was like 4 things you would have to activate to like unlock the Pack-a-Punch area. But that was just like one design that we never got to fully flesh out. And this other design we were working on was, the main complaint was that it felt too small. This originally was supposed to be like the first take of Hydro Plant. You would spawn in this area with the Pack-a-Punch, and like the Pack-a-Punch would be locked behind certain grates or whatever, and they would probably move per round. And to get out of the starting area, you would have to like slide through the tunnels, and like you'd pop up into the main map areas, and then you'd have like the 4 quadrants for like possible Pack-a-Punch areas. So you'd have one here. This is an old Pack-a-Punch model too. Don't let me model again. No.
Yeah, that is, I was gonna say, that looks a little different.
Like the old Speed Cola model.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Don't let me model again. You got it. There's like this right side area too with like a little building. Oh!
Yo, ew! Get your vaccines here.
So there was like this basically 1 section, 2 section, 2 like section. I'm not sure if there's like an actual name for map layouts, but there's meant to be this like center section that would then launch you back to the main spawn area once you unlocked it. I think I have another version of this map. Oh, is this it right over here? Let's see what this is. This relates to when we were gonna try to do a whole new game mode for like the very first Halloween event, and we ran out of with the trowels and the Vulcan machine guns would be they're even like lined up here. We were gonna make it so that it was like more of a wave-based thing where you would have some grace period to like collect scraps outside the area as like a currency, for which you could then trade for weapons, and then after that grace period, zombies would come out and start trying to attack the house, and you'd have to barricade it and defend it as much as possible. Protect Mr. Telemon.
What theme is going to be the next Michael Zombies map? And then just show a picture of that. Do you remember that first game you made? It was a zombie game.
Oh,
just put a screenshot of that and then just move on.
This was like the layout we were planning for the second rendition of Hydroplan. It was supposed to be like a big center area where you would do the boss fight with the platform, and there would be like 4 areas, each for like a pack-a-punch location, and there'd be like a dam with water, and like the water would flow through occasionally and like sweep you into the pit, and you'd have to like get out if you didn't time it right. But you would basically have to link the 4 pack-a-punch locations up to the center area, similar to what you do in Zorix, but instead with like 3 teleporters. But we only got as far as modeling like this spawn room, and like that was it. Like we wanted to have like some sort of crane too as part of the Easter egg, but like it would be so cool to have this like in an actual map for MZ2, quote unquote MZ2.
I'm not gonna answer this next question's a little like I don't understand. I think this guy just wants a job. We're gonna kill you. If I volunteer, please give me a job. Moving on. This next one is from Rando, and he says, are there gonna be skins added to MZ2? And if so, how would they be unlocked?
Yes, there will be skins for MZ2. When you level up guns currently in MZ1, you get nothing for it. It's literally just a funny number that goes up. But for MZ2, I would like every gun to have like a basic set of skins you can unlock per levels or attachments, just like some free ones you get for, you know, playing with a specific weapon. But other than that, there will also be a skin shop that randomly rolls like every hour or so, similar to the attachment shop. And like that will be the other way to obtain skins, and especially if there's like rare ones, like you only have like X amount of time to cop them, so you gotta cop them quick. But yes, there will be skins for MZ2. Mainly I'm thinking about the guns. It is possible there'll be like skins for other side stuff like melee weapons or like specialists or whatever you could possibly put a skin on. But
are you guys planning to touch on the reactive stuff at all, or is that gonna
like skins that change based on
I mean, it could be like they could just change in general, they could just be moving, or like if you do a specific thing or stat, then they could change off of that too.
Like in Valorant, for example, skins actually change. I mean, you get like more kills throughout the round, or like in Black Ops 3, if you, or like any modern, I think Cold War as well, they have like dark matter camo. It's like looks so cool, it's like space. We haven't thought about it too much, but we're gonna have to, because obviously monetization is a very important thing, and if we want to keep developing MZ2 to be like the next biggest zombies game on the platform, that's something we'll definitely eventually like dip our toes into. But right now it's not our focus. Our focus is more on the gameplay and making sure everything feels good to begin with, because nobody wants to play a game that feels like poop.
This is from Frozen Winter. He says, what's the progress in the update in a percentage unit if possible, and when is it estimated to come out?
I think I said a percentage before, but I wasn't sure of it, and I'm still not sure of it now. It depends in which how much we want to add into the game for release in specific. Like we could go ahead and like shorthand a bunch of stuff. Like if we say we took out like all the map remakes or whatever, and we currently have one that's like nearing completion. Let's say we took out like all of the new guns that we wanted to add in, for example. Basically any new content that we wanted to add, like for example Hydroplant, if we get to it, I would say like we're maybe around that 40% range. I don't know. The gun framework is pretty good. It's coming along nicely. As for animation work and modeling, I believe we're a third through the gun models, at least, and animation is like around that same benchmark. But we also have a bunch of like map prop models that have been done, and like map redesigns and changes.
I feel like it's hard to specifically say when a game's going to be done, and I don't think it would be a good idea to even say that either, because then it just puts a time limit on things and people start rushing stuff. Most of the community needs to realize, like, I would rather wait for something for it to be perfected than to have it be rushed and thrown out like puke.
Us on the team, we're artists, and I feel like it's important for us to take our time. Oh, let us cook. I don't like putting dates on stuff because yeah, that is pressure.
10TP, they ask, are there going to be more zombie perks, or is every new perk from now on going to be original?
I'm kind of hesitant on just adding like straight up COD perks. Obviously, we're already underdoing the process of changing up the current perks to be like tuna cans instead. And most of those tuna cans will kind of just be like one-to-one reflections for like COD perks. Like for example, Iron Bones is just going to be like Juggernog basically for the most part. But there's a lot of COD perks, especially in Black Ops 4. There's so many, and I kind of just want to try our own stuff instead of copying those. For example, Widow's Wine is like a hugely requested perk, but there's also Winter's Wail from Black Ops 4, and it functionally does the same thing as Widow's Wine, although it doesn't use grenades and it uses like a charge system instead. We might make a perk that's like that, or that's like similar in functionality, but of those two, because like the whole purpose of those perks is if a zombie hits you, it stuns everything around you so you can escape within the nick of time, so you don't like get cornered. So we might make a perk that helps in that goal, because I don't want to make perks that are kind of like nothing burgers in a sense. I want to make perks that are like they specifically have a function to get you out of a specific scenario or to help you in a specific task of what you're trying to do. And I know the first 4 COD perks are Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Double Tap. They kind of follow that idea where like obviously Speed Cola, the main function of that is just to increase your reload speed. Main function of Quick Revive, revive people faster. I kind of don't like it when perks like take on multiple roles. Like for example, if you think of Vulture's Aid, as cool it as a perk it is, but there's like the fart gas you can stay in, and then you don't get
like, targeted.
Ammo pickups
and money.
Walls, yeah, and the money. I feel like that's too much in one perk. I'd rather have a good version of just one of those attributes, like a really good one, and then like leaving the rest out for like other perks, for example. I come from the perspective of like a modded zombies player. I used to play like a lot of modded World at War, modded Black Ops 3, but mainly World at War. I like seeing the little perk bar like go up, like seeing all the little icons at the bottom left of my screen. I thought that was very satisfying. So, but there's also the idea of we got to think about pollution, quote unquote. Yeah, definitely there will be new perks, but they're gonna be changed up, and we might even take like some COD perks and change them up a bit too.
The main thing I think people should like think about is that MZ1 was like, it was a nice learning curve and like a COD inspo of what Michael Zombies is and could be. So I think people need to understand that MZ2 is not going to really be anything related to Call of Duty at all. There's a lot of games that use like quote unquote perks where you get a faster reload or stuff. So it's not like COD created that whole idea. Okay, Yuno asked the same percentage question, but he also asked if there's going to be any planned updates before MZ2 gets released. So is there going to be anything that gets dropped on MZ1 before MZ2?
So the event was actually not like planned at all. Obviously we planned it and did it and like executed it. We were gonna do an update for MZ1 while we were working on MZ2, just like a little small update, not exactly like one window, but like more of a custom modded map. But don't expect like another Michael barrel in MZ1, because we want to save that for MZ2. I think we cooked on Michael barrel, and even there's a lot more stuff we could do. Michael barrel was just Joe and I. Now with a whole team, I feel like we could bring justice to like even that, or like make it even crazier. I don't know, something just more unique in that sense. Do you intend on fix any bugs currently affecting the experience as well? General bugs and inconsistencies. Yes, I have been slowly, very slowly addressing them. I did address a couple in the summer event, but there's just like some bugs I can't fix unless I rework the whole thing. Zombie pathing was specified as like, yes, I agree, that is a huge issue in MZ1, and it's because the zombie pathing actually uses like a node-based system, and that's actually how Star Battle did it way back in the day. But node-based systems for like pathing is okay if your game layout is simple, but it's not gonna be okay for the future of the game, especially as we try out like new maps and new like types of things we want to do. And I'm trying to get off that node pathing system. That's why I've been like working hard on I posted it on Twitter, the new nav mesh plugin, because I think that would be way better in terms of scalability and flexibility, and as well as stopping weird zombie pathfinding bugs and inconsistencies. That would help help a lot. Another main issue with like general bugs and inconsistencies is humanoids as well on Roblox. I think an Arsenal dev tweeted at Joe and I before about that, and we've been looking into solutions to move off like humanoids but like still use it. I don't know, we're still in that like prototyping phase. It probably won't get fixed for MZ1. However, I am toying with, if I do release like a custom small modded map, it uses like a beta or like a pre-alpha version of that nav mesh plugin, just so I could test it out in like an actual game environment to see how it goes. But I probably wouldn't go back and retrofit like the old maps with like a new pathfinding system, because it's like a sunken, I don't know, it's like a waste of time or a sunken cost fallacy. Why do that for like an old map? If the maps are already being remade for MZ2, you might as well just put your focus on the remakes than going back and like trying to fix something that's already buggy and I know it's buggy. There's plenty I can probably list off, but we don't have to talk about all of it.
In a nutshell, basically very little on MZ1, as MZ2 will be bigger and better. Okay, this one is from D Solive, and he says, will you be adding a pause system to MZ2? I think he's referring to like, you know in Corrupt right now, when you pause the game, it pauses it for everyone. Only the host though. Did they change that? Oh, they did, yes. In public servers, the host can't do that anymore.
Yes, a pause system is something I have been working on for the new gun framework and obviously for the zombies as well. I will say, yes, I definitely want that. It is like a quality of life thing. That helps everyone, especially speedrunners. I know the speedrunning community for Michael Zombies is pretty big too, and they've been asking it for a while. So it will be coming.
This is from Typh. Does Michael know how to make a grilled cheese?
He probably knows.
I don't think cats can have cheese.
You have to ask him. You know that gif of the little cat that's being slapped with like slice of the cheese? 1 cheese.
Yo.
2 cheese. 3 cheeses.
He doesn't even care. This is from Pilot Toasty, one of the GMB admins. Will there be a map that has 4 elemental wonder weapons, like in Origins, Alpha Omega, their Eisendrache, etc.?
It's possible, but instead of 4, it would probably have to be 6 instead, because it is 6-player lobbies, and it is really cool in like Origins and their Eisendrache that everyone gets their own wonder weapon and everyone has their like unique way to upgrade it and such as well. I wouldn't rule it out. It would take a lot of planning though, and obviously I feel like the elemental stuff is played out a little bit too much. I want it to be more unique. I think their Eisendrache does a good job of making it unique. If you pick Windstaff, you're an actual like noob though. Like that one is so bad.
Snowcat, will there be new special perk that helps in fight, or will you just revamp the perk vending machine? I think we answered that too. Like the Dance Dance Revolution game, I don't think that is perk machine related. Do you want to talk about that at all, or?
We could talk about it. I don't know. It was probably already sneak peeked the model at least. That is meant for a like emote / dance system that we're gonna be adding as well. Similar to, you know, like the end of round arsenal. You can like do a little jiggy. It's just like something you could do to socialize in game. And it helps with monetization, and gotta let the animators do something other than gun animation. So it's supposed to be like a shop similar to the attachments and skins as well. Just something more you can sink your money into. But yeah, we already answered the colas and we're already redesigning the perk machines, and we have all the community submissions lined up as well in our Trello, and we've been using that for inspiration. Very helpful when you guys did that.
This is by It's Not X. Is the new server browser coming in the next update?
Yes. It will be coming for MZ2. One of the main things I don't like about the current server browser in MZ1 is that you can't filter anything. So like if you want to join like a round that's like below level 5 or something, or round 5, you can't really do that. There's no like, you just have to scroll through and then look. Or like if you want to join a round that's like at 50 or above, you have to like scroll through. It's fine, but like it's a little bit annoying. To add on to that, there's like other things you could filter servers on that I definitely want for MZ2. For example, people have asked for rank-based matchmaking for a super long time, and so maybe you could search for a server based on its average player level to see if you could join that or not. Or maybe you could only search for servers that are level locked, so maybe you have to be like level 50 plus to actually play in a server. But other than that, there's like tons of different ways you could search for that, and I will be revamping that for MZ2.
Ben GP, can you fit in a suitcase?
That's one of the moderators.
Is he? It is? Oh, yeah. What are you doing in there? We're going to put you in a suitcase. This is from Uner God. Does Michael like the Blocktails OST since he uses some of the OST in the YouTube shorts? Yes, Michael enjoys Blocktails very much. And I'm gonna say I think most, if not all, people in the dev group enjoy Blocktails.
Yep, that is correct.
Very good game.
Dude, that shit is so heat. I loved Paper Mario as a kid. Yo, Blocktails devs, if you're hearing me, let me or Ashcraft or both of us make a song for Blocktails. I promise I will cook. I will do everything to make you guys happy with it. Just give me the opportunity.
I will do everything for you, please.
I want to like learn from the people that make music from them as well.
Possibly Xeon. Will we ever see Jerome UGC? Here's another question to add on to that. Jerome's not like really, I mean, since Jerome was involved in the summer event, you can kind of say like Jerome is a part of the MZ universe now. Is he going to be thrown into MZ2 at all?
He'll make a return in MZ2. Since we're remaking the maps, he will be part of the like Michael Barrow remake, for example. He is now like an entity in the MZ universe, and I think people like that as well. So it's possible he can be UGC. I think we even had Snowfella UGC at one point.
You did, yep. I remember that. But to backpedal really quick, did you say Michael Barrow remake?
Yes.
Moving on.
I don't want to tease it.
Razal game dev. How do you make all of the awesome maps and models? I know it's in Blender and Roblox Studio, but wow, I just love the new weapon models and maps currently in the game.
So for MZ1, this is MZ1 we're talking about.
Right.
So the standards are really low right now. The weapon models I literally found from the toolbox and then animated them in Blender, and I learned how to animate in Blender. And the map models were just made by Joe. But for MZ2, models themselves for the guns and like map props, those are all original. And they have like little MZ marketing on them. And our gun modelers and prop modelers have been going crazy. They've been going fucking ham with all that stuff. Faisal, Rekutami, and Shane or Sharkia have been absolutely nuts when it comes to modeling. It's super cool to see them work as well. And they all have like their own different experiences with modeling, and they bring it all together and they collaborate really well, which is super epic. So I'm excited to see that stuff. As for the maps, we take inspiration from like the COD maps, like the Reese or the Giant and Undead Nocturne are obviously just the Giant from like Black Ops 3 or World at War, and Nocturne and Toten from like everywhere. How we make them? Originally, it was just Joe who made the maps, and I just help him with like a little bit of building. He would like go in Blender and make out terrain shapes and then re-import those shapes into Roblox Studio and then like apply just the default Roblox textures. But for MZ2, we're kind of looking more into using that Roblox terrain instead because it's more performant and it looks more realistic and you have more control over it. But we're still kind of like doing part building in a sense. I guess in terms of style for MZ2, we're kind of going for more like I always say like a more realistic TF2 art style, but that's kind of just like the general broad term I give to it. We're still developing the style and we'll see how more of it unfolds as we give you more sneak peeks.
Okay, we kind of already answered Bluey stuff. I don't think PhD Flopper is going to be in the game because obviously the perks in the future will all be custom and the updates portion again. Most of the stuff's working on MZ2. A desert map from Lemonade Studios. The options are limitless to what could be planned.
Who knows? Maybe that mineshaft map I was yapping about earlier could be like an old western town, but then that seems too much like buried.
I want to make a prison map. Actually, that's Mob of the Dead. Like, you can't. You can't just do that to yourself. Like, Call of Duty did not make Alcatraz. like, Alcatraz is already there. So you cannot, like, keep doing this to yourself, Kyles. There's gonna be things that, yes, COD has, like, yeah, I'm gonna use this as a map. But it's like, they can't just take that and steal it from everyone else.
Dude, people already do that with Michael Barrow, too. Like, they're like, oh, it's just a shitty Call of the Dead remake.
No, it's not. 10TP, you already asked the question, so we're moving on. How large do you think his maps are gonna get? They're gonna be insanely large.
That's where we reworking the pathing system. They're gonna probably get bigger. Even Michael Barrow's a little small in my opinion, and we've already done stuff to expand it a little bit. But it would be cool to see bigger maps.
I think you guys know the GTA 5 map, something like that.
Okay, we're talking about maps, not countries.
Why are Panzer Michaels the worst thing of all time? I think he has some bad experiences.
You know, the story of the Panzer Michaels being added to Nocturne and Toten was because when Joe and I were playtesting it, we literally thought it was the most boring shit ever. Okay, yeah, you can have Nocturne and Toten, you can have like an Easter egg to get the Pack-a-Punch machine and like la-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's so happy. Boring! We gotta add a little spice in this. We gotta make the players scared for their consequences for a little bit. So we added them just to mess with you guys. We're evil game developers. Be angry when you play our game. I want you to consider your life choices.
This guy's insane.
Lemonade, another question from Lemonade. Exosuits when?
It could be a specialist. I wouldn't rule it out. I don't know if people realize it, but like I was like originally like a fighting game developer. Like Shards of Genesis, I know I bring that up a lot. Stuff like that is cool, and maybe you will see it mixed into the specialist system a little bit. I don't
You can play that in the description.
know. No.
Okay, this is someone on the MZ team, is it not? Not Nat?
Yeah, it is.
Who the biggest freak on the developer team?
Ooh.
What is that question? Please fire her. What the?
I don't know, C4. When
Looks
it
at
comes to
C4.
Yakuza,
What? How is that freaky? It's just oily, bulky men fighting. Listen, if you're part of the development team, there's gonna be a lot of hee-hees and
I think
ha-has.
everyone's a freak. Everyone's a freak on the dev team. Even if they don't admit it, we're all freaks.
This is Kenny, my manager. Will there be any incentives to leveling up in the future?
Yes, in gun leveling, well, I already talked about that earlier, but player leveling, one of the things I've thought about for player leveling is once you level up or like get to a certain level, you can like quote unquote prestige, and then that gives you some stuff for prestiging and you get sent back to the previous first level, like level 100, level 0 or whatever, and like that could give you just like in-game currency. Obviously, you get a prestige counter as well, but one thing I was toying around with as well, where like when you prestige like that, you might get like small modifier points, which you can then use to modify how the game is played. Joe isn't a huge fan of the recoil system in MZ. He likes the Black Ops 2 recoil system in very specific. So I was like, okay, what if we added like a way to where you could change how your recoil works? Not one would be specifically better than the other with like modifier points or whatever. And like you could lock that behind prestige. So if you play more, you'll have more ways to mess around with the game a bit. I don't know. It's still a work in progress. I think the other idea I also had with that is like maybe adding like a Payday 2 like building system with like prestige points. Not 100% sure what will be manifested because it's still in the design phase and whatnot. And obviously all of us have to fuck with an idea with that on the dev team. So there will be incentives though.
This is from Dachi. Will the new maps introduce new mechanics?
Yes. We try to do that every time we release like a big new map. Michael Barrel kind of introduced that parrying idea and like a whole ass boss fight. I always want to keep pushing the limit of what's possible on Roblox. So like when people play, it's like, holy shit, someone made this into a Roblox game? What the fuck? But like that impressive stuff like that as well. Like even cutscenes too. It's not like a game mechanic, but like it's a little thing that adds to a long way.
And this is from Reigns. We pretty much already answered what's next for Michael Zombies, but was there anything that we haven't mentioned about MZ2 yet that's in development that you want to mention?
I believe I already mentioned remaking of the gun system, remaking of the zombie pathing and the zombie system in general, remaking of the menus, remaking of the maps. I guess the soundtrack as well. I'll be spending more time on doing stuff like that because I like making music. It's super fun. It helps make games stand out more.
Broken Bacon. What is the hardest thing you guys faced while creating MZ2?
Development's going pretty smoothly. Probably the hardest thing about it right now is that in terms of programming, it's like mainly me only, but I'm also doing like more of the business stuff as well. So it's like I feel like I have my attention split, and part of me wants to get someone to like do more business management, but also at the same time I'm scared to hire people like that because it feels like it almost kind of feels like a nothing burger position where it's like, oh, if you're not actually making the game yourself and you're just like telling people what to do, what's your point? Like I want people to have like their toes dipped in like the different expertises. Like me, for example, I do animation and like music stuff, so like when I was hiring animators, I was like, I knew specifically what I was looking for. And I know like exactly like what kind of style I want and like what kind of people I'm looking for. And so like getting a business person to do that is kind of hard because if they don't know how to animate or like don't have experience with it, they might just like hire like some fucking rando.
Yeah, some random person.
13-year-old kid that just learned how to use Moon Animator. That's like the hardest thing right now. And also like managing a bunch of stuff like group funds, obviously, and like making sure everyone gets paid and paid fairly too. I know a lot of developers on Roblox get underpaid, and I don't want to do that to my team because they're all my friends to begin with. We're tight as fuck. Right, C4?
To wrap that up, yes, I think Everyone's having fun. Zorix, what does the cat get out of sending hordes of zombies our way? And did he manage to get out of the jar? He likes to see you guys suffer. And I don't think he's not the same as the... I think he's talking about the Wintycle.
Yeah, he's talking about Michael. So, there actually is a Michael Zombies Bible that's only internal to the team right now, but it's like a little synopsis of what the current lore is. So there is lore and stuff. I'm not much of a writer of myself, to be honest, and maybe I do go out of like my way to hire someone to take that lore writing direction off my hand, because I'm not the most creative when it comes to stories, and I feel like that's something we could expand on a lot. So like all the Michaels that have been currently seen in the game are just like his peons, his like little Michael children. Like first it was those 5 Michaels on Derice the Giant, then it was, what else? It's like the little Shadow Michaels that are on Lighthouse and Undead Nocturne that kind of like stalk you. Shadow Michael,
The jump scare Michael.
Winnetycle, he's like, he has more of a center role in a map. None of those are like the real Michael. But for now, we haven't seen him. So no one knows the motives of Michael either at the moment. And honestly, I like it like that. I like it when the lore is just like ambiguous enough to where people can just like self-insert and like make their own theories, because that's like a big thing I want to do for MZ2, make quote unquote multiple different like storylines. It's kind of a mechanic I've been thinking about for the main menu, where you play a specific set of maps and like maybe use like preset characters that have voice lines or whatever. I don't know, like a special mission or whatever. We've been toying around with that as well, but I also don't want to take away the player's like own character, because obviously everyone wants to use their own Roblox avatar in video games, but it might just be like a little extra side stuff that we tack on.
Wandering Person says add replayability, blah, but I like what he said here, the custom difficulties and maps. So like, I'm sure like he's probably talking about a casual mode, which would be just like normal, and then like hardcore, probably zombies would be faster and do more damage, and you'd have less health or something.
Difficulties is probably planned. And it'll probably not be even a thing that's like locked behind anything. And especially like a baby mode as well, for those who do not have a developed frontal lobe yet. Those small children on the group wall that go like, oh, I got 2 shot by the zombie.
Okay, Ali says, when will the return achievement be fixed? Never. Moving on.
Bro, I swear I've fixed that like 10 times. And it's, I'm pretty sure it works. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and use the badge pop-up system for like the old maps that we implemented for the Summer Games event, just to test it, just to be sure.
Unknown username. Since you're moving away from COD, and I don't expect PhD Flopper or Slider to come, will there be different methods to prevent self-damage, like a buyable attachment for explosive weapons or something? And then he says, love the update, by the way. Thank you so much for redoing the interact system.
Oh, thank you.
That interact system is actually some prototype code from MZ2 that I ported over back in the MZ1, just to test it out, because there is supposed to be multi-reviving. I don't know if it's working though. It is a little bugged at the moment. I don't want to roll out PhD. We've been teasing it for so long that I feel like we have to add it now.
Yeah.
I also just don't want it to be super simple like PhD slide, PhD flop. I want it to be more unique in that. I've had PhD in the game before as well. Way back when we were doing like mobile testing and I had like a game place out, I literally had a PhD machine in like the mobile testing. Let me see if I can even pull it up. Oh my god, the PhD power.
PhD power.
It prevents splash damage, I believe. I'm about to shoot this at myself and it's probably not gonna work. Oh no,
Oh, it does, yeah. So that's where it's been. Michael hit it. Okay, Taco has another question here I think we can answer. I think he's referring to the shorts I've been uploading. Will the animations continue to be this insane? Absolutely. And there's much more I have to show as well for you guys on the weapon animations. They're all really cool. And there's a lot more that's being worked on too. So I don't think all of the weapons are done.
I like the little skits that Jake cooks up with his friends because I think they're interesting to watch too.
This is from Fade Chris. Is Michael going to add an Inferno map or something similar to the next Halloween update? I'm pretty positive the next Halloween update is just going to be what it has been. I highly doubt there's going to be anything new arriving. And that was pretty much already answered too. Last question here. This is from Lienzo. I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Will the 3030 Justice Gun from the games map be in any other map?
I don't know.
Was that specifically just made for the games?
Yes. Okay, so the only main issues is, for one, I don't want to inflate the box with like new weapons. For example, if we added all the new Joe's Gun game weapons and like the new weapons from the games as well, like even the melee weapons into the box, I feel like that inflates the box too much and then doesn't make the maps too unique. For the second reason, I have to make the gun attachment compatible, and we do have a plugin for making guns attachment compatible, like make sure all the lasers and the sights work on it, but it's not very robust. It's very finicky to use. I don't even have the plugin anymore. It's like somewhere lost in my old computer files. So the main reason I can't do it is, one, for box inflation, and for two, I can't make it attachment compatible at the moment.
Thank you guys for submitting everything here. And of course, any other easy yes or no questions, you guys can leave it in the comment section here, and I can easily go ahead and say yes or no, or I just bully you guys, one of the two. We'll see. Thank you guys, and we're leaving now.
Anything you want to say, C4?
Do backflips.
Thank you, C4. Okay, we're done now.